Another funny story. A few years ago, on what should have been an ordinary, peaceful night, my husband and I decided to go for a drive and park by the water in front of a bar. It was the kind of place where you sit in the car, let the breeze in through the window, and talk about anything or nothing. The night was calm, the atmosphere relaxing, and we were enjoying that rare moment of tranquility. Now, to understand what happened next, you need to know something about my husband. He has an unwavering instinct to rescue any living creature he finds. It doesn't matter if it's a spider, a beetle, or a bird. If it needs help, he's there. So, if you can imagine how this story might unfold based on just that, you already have an idea of what comes next. While we were talking, we suddenly heard a loud thud, so strong that it shattered the bubble of peace around us. Confused, we got out of the car to see what had happened. Right there, on the ground, outside the bar's wall, lay a pheasant. Well, that place definitely wasn't where pheasants are usually found. It seemed completely out of place, the kind of thing that makes you blink twice to make sure you're seeing things. The poor animal had clearly crashed into the bar wall, probably disoriented by the lights or reflections. But despite the dramatic impact, the bird wasn't seriously injured. It was alive, breathing, and wide awake, though undeniably dazed and probably questioning all the life choices that had led it there. Of course, my husband's rescuer mode kicked in instantly. Before I could say anything, he was already crouched beside the bird, examining it like some kind of forest paramedic. After a minute of watching it closely, he turned to me with a look that told me I should get ready. He announced that we should take the pheasant to a more appropriate place, a place with trees, grass, and fewer vertical bar walls for it to collide with. A place about 15 minutes away, and since I'm a decent person who also felt sorry for the stunned creature, I agreed. The plan we devised seemed absurd even then. My husband would take off his coat, gently wrap it around the pheasant, and then the bird would sit on my lap in the car while we transported it to a more suitable location for pheasants. At the time, it seemed reasonable. After all, the bird was calm, quiet, and hardly moving. What could go wrong? And there we were, a couple driving through the night with a somewhat stunned pheasant, wrapped like a burrito in a coat, sitting on my lap. The first 10 minutes went well. The pheasant remained motionless, blinking occasionally, but practically frozen in what I presumed to be prolonged shock. I sat there, trying not to move, worried that any sudden movement would startle the poor creature. Then came the moment that changed everything. My husband, apparently feeling the cold of the night, reached out without warning and turned on the car's fan. A harmless action in any other situation, but for a pheasant, half panicked, recovering in a stranger's lap. Apparently, it was the last straw. The instant the fan turned on, the pheasant exploded into motion. It panicked so violently that it literally defecated in terror, and I'm not talking about a small amount. No, it was a complete evacuation, driven by fear. The bird flew straight from my lap, its wings flapping against the car's interior as if someone had unleashed a tornado of feathers inside a small metal box. I screamed, shocked and unsure whether to duck, cover my face, or simply accept my fate. My husband, meanwhile, tried to keep the car from leaving the road, shouting instructions that neither of us could follow. The scene was total chaos, flapping wings, flying feathers, both of us screaming, and the pheasant spreading panicked excrement all over the car like an unholy biological irrigation system. He jumped from seat to seat, from window to window, desperate to escape the deadly moving metal trap in which he was trapped. Finally, my husband managed to stop in an area with trees, grass, and enough space to attempt a rescue, or more precisely, an expulsion. We opened the car doors hoping the bird would simply fly out, but of course nothing in this tragedy would be simple. The pheasant, in its hysterical frenzy, refused to leave. It ran under the seats, beat its wings against the roof, squeezed between the cracks, and seemed to choose the most inconvenient hiding places possible. What followed was a full 20 minutes of trying to persuade, guide, encourage, and finally expel the bird from the car. At one point, we were half in, half out. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel.